سلام كمي تخونو كمي اللهم كم تلمد كأمزيناكم على Habesha Education لو معنتي Chris he is one of the best and then the most important to Habesha community in Denver, Colorado, actually in Colorado. So Miss Chris نشتينا interview كلنا أيو أتوقع حسايك اللالين أيو أنا حسايك الله تلمد تفلتوا نشتي مسكا جرمزيكا قرمنا بعال كحسين كريسن مخارنا حوات. Thank you again for coming, Chris. So we'll move forward.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
لكايو حوالي سنة زحبدو زربي قصو مشتخازي لكايو حوالي زينسو مسيلو لكاوة سيفتو رخيبو أبيا من أبيا عركي قالو معصيري سيزال جناب المسكا زر آبا عشت تيرا دايز السجر تفتين كبيرا كورقينا بحاوي ماني مغمى مخلو سوا نوسيين أتانو سيين سوكر فيك نسيين كي قولي كي عنتري أطلب زحم بسي لا تقطعي لا تقربي بسعدي بزيني سببي توان سلمي توان ما وش تنسري لك هايو حضرتي سلامتنا فيكو لك هوا السي أبسطوا قليل لك هايو حوالي عد سمسكني لك هوا السي زعبر
All right, great, thank you. All right, أتوقع حسايك it's on you now.
كمي قنيهم خبرات بيتسب لحد قنيهم خم قدمنا على حدا انفورميشن او كوميونيتينا حجزنا زخل اكسبرت بفلاي تو وانا ادلاي زغونه سرحات غزا ناي مغزا انتاي بريباريشن خنقبر كم زلنا تي وانا استفلت اب كولورادو 5 ستار زغونه M2 لندنج ملو بملو مبرهر خبنا تقريو مسيلو عبي خبرت لنا سلازي ምናልባት ሁሉ በትግርኛ ላይ ክንገብሮ ይኽእልና ግን ካለ ግዜ በትግርኛ ክንገብሮ ሎሚ በእንግሊዝኛ ኒ ክሪስ መርፊ ዘለና ጥያቄታት ክንጥይቆ መብራህርሂ ክበና እንታይ ከም ዘለና መጀመርያ ኢንፎርሜሽን በሙሉ ገዛ ንክንገዝእ ልቃሕና ክንረክብ ሪኳየርመንቱ እንታይ እንታይ ምዃኑ ግልጽ ኣቢሉ ክሕግዘና እዩ እንታይ ዓይነት ዶክመንት ከም ዘድልየና ክነግረና እዩ ኣሰራርሓኡ ክንደይ ግዜ ከም ዝውድእ ኩሉ ኢንፎርሜሽን ክነግረና እዩ ከምቲ ትርእይዎ ቶፕ 25 ናይ ሙሉእ ኣሜሪካ ዘለው ዓብዪ ሽልማት በብዓመቱ ዝረክብ 5280 ማጋዚን 5 ስታር ብሮከር ኦልሞስት ሞርጌጅ ብሮከር በብዓመቱ እናረኸበ ዝፀንሐ ስለ ዝኾነ ተሎ ዝበሃለ ኮሎራዶ ንፈልጦ ብዙሕ ግዜ ንሰርሐሉ ምስ ሓበሻ እውን ብዙሕ ምቅርራብ ዘለዎ ኦልሞስት ብኣይ በኩል ክሳብ 95 ልቕሓት ዝውድአለይ ንሱ እዩ ቅድሚ ክሳብ 17 ዝለሓለፈ 17 ዓመታት ስለዚ ኩሉ ግዜ ከም ትፈልጥዎ እቲ ፍልጠት ቅድሚ ኩሉ ስለ ዝኾነ ካብ ዝተፈላለዩ ፍልጠት ዘለዎም ሰባት ኣምፂና ዘድልየና ኢንፎርሜሽን ንክንበኩም ቅርባት ኢና የቀኒልና መምህር ደስ በለ Chris, thank you very much. Thanks for showing up. I know how busy you are on Saturday, but when we ask you that if you can give us some education, some knowledge, some information for our big community, Ethiopian Eritreans, this is the best time. We have one of the top mortgage broker with us. From now, he will give us a lot of information. So first, you could start and tell us who you are, and then we'll go to the mortgage classes today. We may have some questions. Our people may ask a lot of questions too. So you are here to answer, to help us, to give us a lot of education, a lot of information today. Thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Now you could tell us about yourself, who you are, how many years you've been in the business, why are you always 5-star and top mortgage broker in Colorado? Give us a little bit more details about yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing this over 20 years. I, primarily lived in Colorado. So, I built this company based on the idea of, helping people get the best mortgage. It's the best mortgage for them based on their unique situation. So we do a really good job of understanding your situation and finding the best product that meet your needs. And so that's sort of what we're all about, right? And we're trying to help people the best way we can. So everyone on my team is helpful and trying to find the solution to make it work for you. We know we've worked with lots of Ethiopians and I've helped over 2,000 Ethiopians become first-time home buyers in my career. I'm very proud of that. I've done over $2 billion worth of loans. We're ranked one of the top number 21 in the United States as far as originators. There's over 300,000 originators in the United States. I'm number 21. And Eritreans too, right? So we've helped all kinds of folks and just lots of different Coloradans in general. And so, we really want to focus on understanding all the nuance that it takes in order to get someone a loan. Sometimes it's very easy and sometimes it's very hard. And it just has to do with everyone's particular situation and trying to make them fit within. And so I think we've been creative, and we've done a lot of different things in order to make those work for folks, and we're very proud of that.
Great. So give us a little bit of information that in order to get a loan, what are the requirements, the qualification?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different there's a lot of different loan programs going on today. I mean, what we're seeing, maybe what we've seen in the past at the time is maybe somebody started a business that's maybe not quite 2 years old, but we've still been able to get them a loan. right? Maybe if it's only a year old and we've still been able to give them a loan. A lot of times people think it has to be in their business has to be around for 2 years. That's a thing that we've been able to do. Some of the other things that I think that are happening right now is maybe somebody hasn't filed their tax returns yet, but they've generated a fair amount of money and they're self-employed for 12 months. We can use a bank statement program. We've done some of those programs. So we just, there's a lot of different unique situations for folks, right? Maybe they have 2 jobs, but they haven't worked 2 jobs for 2 years. There's still an opportunity to get a loan for that in that situation. There's many ways to help people get loans. Sometimes we'll help them, use a co-signer, a co-borrower, or somebody else to help co-sign for them. There's just a lot of different ways to get people loans today, and we're very creative, and we've done a lot of things, and we've done a lot of loans, and so we have a lot of experience, and so we're able to sort of help people figure out solutions.
When it comes to a down payment,
down
for VA, for FHA, for conventional, would you give us a little bit of information about that?
Yeah, there's some great programs. We on our website we have a link for all of the different first-time homebuyer programs that are in Colorado, and so we've been able to sort of help people with that. But in addition to that, there's a lot of great first-time homebuyer programs, or just people that have owned multiple homes, and they're through CHAFA they only require $1,000 out of your pocket to buy a house, either for a conventional loan or an FHA loan. So there's a lot of opportunities to buy a house with very little money down. I don't think that people realize that sometimes. They think they have to have some money down. They don't necessarily have to. Their payments are going to be higher because they're borrowing more, but it's certainly not required.
Besides CHAFA, what kind of other loans do we have that have a good deal, like from a VA, FHA, or conventionals, like the buy down kind of loans?
Yeah, what we find is a lot of folks, they can qualify for the mortgage, right? They qualify for the payments, they just don't want them that high. So happening, and we're seeing this quite a bit, is where the sellers are giving some concessions to get buyers to buy their properties. And one of the things that you're using some of those concessions for is to do a temporary buy down. So the temporary buy down can be for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and it'll lower the interest rate by like 1% or 2%. Maybe a 2-1 buy down will lower the interest rate for 2% in the first year, and then the second year it'll be 1% lower, and then the third year it'll be at the full rate. But what people think about that is, on a $500,000 mortgage, that saves about $500 a month on the first year, and so that just makes it a little bit more affordable for folks to for the monthly payment. And we think that within the next 12 months, the interest rates are going to come down quite a bit, and that'll allow folks to refinance and sort of get into a permanently lower rate. So we feel like the temporary buy downs are really it's a product that's been around for a very long time, but it's just something that's been utilized in the last couple of years as these interest rates have been elevated, and so it just gives some relief. And the nice thing about those products is that money goes into an escrow account. And so if you refinance, or if you pay that mortgage off before you've used all that money that's in that account, it comes back to you. So you don't actually ever lose it. So we do quite a bit of those today. I'd say about 50 or 60% of the loans that we do have a buy down on them of some sort.
What are the difference between the VA loan, FHA loan, conventional loan, all kind of loans you guys give? What are the difference?
We do all those loans, but the VA loan, you have to be a veteran in order to qualify for that. So that's a great product if you are, and that's fantastic. We do a lot of those loans. The VA, an FHA loan is in a conventional loan, really, they just have some different underwriting parameters to them. And so they have some pluses and minuses, really. And it really depends on your credit score, your debt to income ratios, things like that. Each product might be an FHA might be a little bit better than a conventional, depending on your credit score, and vice versa. So what we do is we'll usually take a look at someone's situation, and we sort of recommend what the best option is for them. That's going to give them the best payment option, or the lowest down payment, or that sort of thing, or allow them to qualify. So all those loans are great loans. There's nothing wrong with any of them. They're all great. They just have different characteristics and different parameters and different underwriting criteria.
Right. What are the requirements to get a loan? What is the minimum credit? And when it is a high FICO score, how good does it help with the interest?
Yeah, the high credit score, if you're looking at a conventional loan, the higher the credit score, the better the interest rate typically is. It also, your income, the level of income that you have, if you're at an 80% of the AMI or the AMI and you're a first-time home buyer, and your credit score is really high, and you might qualify for a loan program, a conventional loan program called a Home Ready or Home Possible loan. And that what those do is it kind of it reduces your interest rate, and reduces the amount of the mortgage insurance if you don't put 20% down. And so those programs, we really try and match folks into those programs if we can. It creates the lowest rate for them. FHA, if your credit score, the FHA has a minimum credit score really of about 580. What's nice about that is even if you have a lower credit score, in a program, your interest rate is the same and the mortgage insurance rate is the same. So, it's sort of, even if you're a lower credit score, on an FHA loan, you're going to get about the same sort of interest rate as somebody that has a higher credit score. So that's one of the benefits of FHA, for sure.
I think you mentioned about a PMI. What does a PMI means?
Yeah, the PMI is a private mortgage insurance. And what that is any loan that has above, any loan that has above 80% loan to value, or you put less than 20% down, will require some sort of mortgage insurance. That can be a single premium mortgage insurance. It can be monthly mortgage insurance. It can be a combination of the two. But typically what we see is people will use a monthly mortgage insurance. And, that's an insurance that goes to actually cover the lender in the case of a loss or a foreclosure, like that. So it isn't necessarily for the benefit of the buyer. It is more the benefit of the lender. But they require it if you're going to put less than 20% down. So it's certainly something that is required, and there's some tactics to get them to lower amounts. Higher credit score, different loan programs within a conventional loan will get you a lower PMI rate. But the higher your credit score is, generally the lower the private mortgage insurance rate is. So, but with FHA, the mortgage insurance rate is the same, no matter if you have a 580 credit score or a 780 credit score. It doesn't matter. It's the exact same rate for everybody. So that is one of the other characteristics of the FHA program.
These days, how expensive is closing cost?
Yeah, typically, the closing costs you know, for a $500,000 home purchase is probably maybe $6,000 or $7,000, maybe $8,000. We're seeing the homeowners insurance rates go up, and typically if you buy a house, you get that homeowners insurance a year in advance. So that is affecting the amount of the closing costs. And we're seeing a lot of seller concessions to help offset some of those costs. But generally, it's, you know, between $6,000 and $7,000 or $8,000 for a $1,000 home.
What is the difference between direct lender and mortgage broker?
Yeah, we're a direct lender, so we're not a mortgage broker. That means that we underwrite the loans in our company. We make the underwriting decision. We're not sending it someplace else to do that. We can move quicker, we can close faster, and we can make the underwriting decision. So sometimes there might be a judgment call or some sort of underwriting thing that we can waive, a condition that we might be able to waive. And so I think that's sort of one of the benefits of being a direct lender is you have the control.
I thought the direct lender is a bank, and you guys are mortgage brokers. So you are direct lender.
We're a direct lender. We're a mortgage banker, right? So you can be a, you know, my dog's barking there. So yeah, so I mean, we are, sorry about that. We are a mortgage banker.
Okay.
Direct lender. So you don't have to be a bank. We don't have deposits and things of that nature. We just do mortgages only.
I know at one time I had a client who wants to get a loan from Wells Fargo Bank. She preferred to go to Wells Fargo Bank than to mortgage broker. When she goes over there, she was asked about 18 different documents. That was so stressful.
Yeah.
That's why we prefer mortgage guys.
Yeah.
And you guys try to make it a little bit easier, and we really appreciate it.
Yes. I mean, fundamentally, how that works is that sometimes the banks, large banks, you know, they'll have an underwriting criteria and they want a lot of, and they may have overlays on top of the regular guidelines from Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or FHA and that sort of thing, conventional stuff. They want other documents just to be sure, you know, or more conservativeness or something like that, right? So that they put all these they call them overlays in the industry, where there's just things on top of the regulation. So we don't do it like that. We take just what's needed from the guidelines for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We don't have any overlays. So we don't need extra documentation, right? And so we just need exactly what we need, you know, whether it's a verification of employment or, you know, some banks will require all these different things that they don't need to sell the loan or to sell it to, or does it to meet the guidelines. They just want extra stuff. And so that creates more work for folks, right? It's harder and more opportunity to fail. And so we don't try and put folks through that. That's one of the processes that we try and make it a little more strict.
Just additional one question, Chris, for that. So mostly that the bank is doing, I guess, you might explain to us for specific bank loans, right? Like one or two. Are you guys, when you are pulling our credit and then asking for a loan to buy, for how many company can you go for? Like more than just one pull credit at one time?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people think, well, if I have my credit pulled by M2 and then I have it by Wells Fargo and I get all these inquiries, my credit score goes down. That's not how it works. So you know, when you get your credit pulled by a mortgage company, any mortgage company, you can have as many inquiries in a 30-day period, and it counts as one inquiry. You have to be able to shop for mortgages. Just same with car loans and that sort of stuff. It only counts as one inquiry, because otherwise, if the first person you'd have to go to the first person you went to, because the credit score would go down every time someone was checking it. So it doesn't work like that. In the 30-day period, it's just one inquiry. It doesn't matter how many times you have it. So your credit score won't be impacted if you have 4 different people pull your credit, or 5, or however many you want.
I had a customer after a lender pulls her credit, and then she got so many calls from different mortgage companies. How do they get it? How do they find out that she's applying for a loan?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We get a lot of this all the time. It's terrible. It's a function of the industry, right? So the credit bureaus, the Experian, Equifax, right, sell this data, and they're called trigger leads. And so I could buy them, or we could buy them if we want to do it. We don't do that, and then people will buy these trigger leads, and then they sell them. Those companies sell your information. If you're not on the do not call list, and even if you are on the do not call list, some of these companies just don't care. They'll call you up and they'll start handling you. So sometimes we'll have customers that we pull the credit, and they'll have 70 calls in the next day, just bombarded. What we recommend is that you go log on to the sort of to put yourself on a do not call list. So at the minimum, some of the folks will stop making those calls.
What is your advice, or to tell us how to choose the best lender? What are the informations you could give us when we choose lenders before we can apply for a loan?
Yeah, I mean, what we think about on choosing the best lender, I think I'm one of the best in the country for sure. But you you want somebody that sort of understands what you're trying to do, and how to help you, right? And that listens to what you need. So that's what I think is really, really important, is finding somebody that can provide great interest rates for sure, but also can really close the transaction and understand your situation. Because when they're really easy loans and you got all the paperwork and everything is fine, everyone can close them, that's easy. Then it's sort of just a function of the the lowest sort of rate. But when they're not, you need somebody that has experience in dealing with things and be able to close loans. And a lot of brokers cannot do it. A lot of brokers struggle to close them. And that's one of the things that we do every month. We probably take 3 to 4 or 5 transactions a month from other brokers that sort of couldn't close the loan. And so we step in and we help and we close them.
At the moment, it is a very slow season, because it's not the season, but the interest is so high. So it is a little bit slow time. Average, how many loans are you closing a month?
I close about 30 to 40 transactions a month.
I know a year and a half ago, you used to close about 50 loans a month.
Yeah, 100 a month. Yeah, so it's just a little bit different. But we're still pretty busy. I'm still pretty busy, right? Just because of there's a lot of people buying houses, right? So there's not quite as many people refinancing. We were doing a lot of refinances a couple of years ago, just because the interest rates are so low. But now, people are taking advantage of this market opportunity. I think this is a good time to buy. When we were seeing a couple of years ago, someone would have to pay, it was really hard to get under contract. Now it's a little bit easier, right? Your interest rate's a bit higher, and your payments a little bit higher. But if you can get one of those 2-1 buy downs, you get the seller to pay for that. It's not as low as the interest rate was, but you're certainly not paying as much for 2 years ago. So I just feel like a lot of houses a couple of years ago, you had to pay over 50,000 over, and there was 20 people offering on the same house. So today it's a little bit different. It's a little easier to get under contract when it was very challenging before. So that's sort of the.
Just in addition, like a little question with that, Chris. So our community or our people, what we are saying is, hey, the crash is coming. Crash will come. Crash will come. I know we have this history. So what do you think, Chris, with this all supply and demand, and then even though, shortage of the houses, even you said it from 30 to 40 transaction a month, while you had it about 50 and above about a year ago. What can you tell us? Is this going to be a crash coming, or I know you said it's time to buy, but
Yeah,
it's a little specific on that.
Yeah, from my experience, I mean, I don't see a crash coming. I think it's going to be sort of a flat market over the next couple of years in Colorado, in Denver for sure. We haven't seen a lot of the lack of inventory, right? So it's not a lot, so there isn't a real need for people to go down. There's no one's foreclosing on their home, right? That's not happening. Because they're locked in. Interest rates are so low that they can't get a cheaper rent. The rent is more expensive than they're paying for their whole house payment. So they're not letting the houses go. They have equity in their home, so those aren't going away. So that's some of the reasons why the 2008, 9, and 10, era, when things were going down so much, right? So it's just not like that now. So I don't see a crash coming. There might be some more economic pain in the labor markets coming up, and the Fed is ended its rate hike cycle. They're going to start lowering the rates at some point. We just don't know when, but it will happen. In the next probably 6 months, they'll start that process, and so the interest rates will come down, for sure. And I think once the interest rates come down, the house prices start taking off again.
So on that thing, even I read this article that says about 44 investors or wealthers are taking our dream home. What can you say in this from 30 to 40 transaction? How many buyers do you have investors in Colorado, Chris? Because we are not that big.
Yeah. We don't have very many of those at all, investors. Those are all buyers. We don't see a lot of people buying investment properties today. And the really reason for that is, whoops, sorry about that. So the real reason for that we're not seeing a lot of investors is because the interest rates are higher on investors, and so individual investors that buy a house, it's hard for them to cash flow. They usually are not cash flowing. It's a negative cash flow every month, and they have to put money down on the property. So it's hard for them to make it work. So we just don't see a lot of people buying homes in this market. A $400,000 or $500,000 house is just, with a 20% down or 25% down on the interest rates, 8% on an investment property. So it's just hard to make the economics work of it. So we don't quite see that. So the investors that they're talking about are a lot of, hedge fund type BlackRock stuff, kind of those kinds of groups that are buying these things, and those guys are using money, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, go ahead, Kase. Thank you, Chris.
So when we start to shop for a mortgage, we have to check credit score, review the type of loans, and gather required financial documents, which I always tell my buyers, hey, bring all for two years tax return, 2 pay stub, 2 bank statements, 2 W-2. Always tell them to prepare these documents, gather their financials, and then obtain any compare quote from other lenders too. When we choose the last one, to choose the lender, so are we guaranteed to give our loans to M2 lending, so we get the best service? and the best interest?
Yes, I try to do my best. The best. Try to give the best rates. Try to give the best service for sure. Absolutely. That's my goal every day.
For the last 17 years, I'm so happy to give almost 95% of my loans to M2 lending. And the best thing that I enjoy with M2 lending is that when I give clients to banks, it would probably take them 1 month to probably 6 weeks. M2 lending has been finishing documents, closing 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. So I am always happy for the last 17 years that many of our customers are so happy. Now, I guess I am right, because when I see your review, out of 433 reviews, you have all 5-star. And you should be very proud of it, and congratulations for that. So for the next loan that our people needs to focus is, even though we always try to compare with other lenders too, but to give their loans for M2 lending. What makes it so easy for our clients to give you so many loans all the time? What is the reason? Is that because you finish the loan process quickly, or you think it is the interest or the customer service? Give me a little bit more detail.
I think all three of those things are important, right? So those are all three. Those are the factors, right? But I think also what's really important is that, we understand some of the nuances and the unique characteristics of this community, right? And so some of the job history, the multiple jobs, the self-employment, maybe the way that people save their money, in the community savings type program, and so things like that. Just some of the uniqueness of the community we're very familiar with. So we've seen it, we've done a lot of things, and so we're familiar, and so we can solve the issues and help them, right? So I think people appreciate that we understand where they're coming from and how to help them. And so I think that's what's allowed us to be successful in this community.
When you compare Ethiopian Eritreans with other people who live in this country, what do you see the difference?
I mean, my
loan.
Yeah, from a loan perspective, I mean, I think this community is very hardworking folks. Just want to provide a nice house for their family, right? I mean, I think that's what everybody wants. I think that's part of the American dream, and I think that's what we're trying to help people achieve, right? So if we can be part of that, we're super excited. That's what drives everyone in the company, is that helping people get the American dream of owning their own home and creating a house for their family.
Have you seen any major issues like bankruptcy and stuff from Habesha people?
No.
When you compare with others?
Yeah, no, we haven't. We don't see people foreclose on their home. We don't see them stop making their payments. Everyone does what it takes to keep working hard and make their payments. So we think those are all good credit risks to have. Somebody that's willing to do whatever it takes to stay in their home and work really hard, we can't ask for anything more than that.
As you have said it, I think from what I see from my experience is the Habesha people, Eritrean Ethiopians, that I have dealt for the last so many years, they are hard workers, not only one job, that sometimes even two, and another even third per time.
Yes.
I know a few of them, they work 96 hours a week.
Yes.
I know that, 96 hours a week.
Yes.
They are here ready to change their life. Plus, when they arrive here, they don't have a credit. Then they start and they really pay their mortgage and their car expenses, their credit cards very well. They are scared to screw up with their credits. They work so hard and pay their mortgage on time. Not only that, but one of the unique things is that they don't spend so much, especially comparing with the people generally who grew up here. We have customers who go, oh, a paycheck, and then every Friday they get a paycheck, or every 2 Fridays. It is finished before Monday morning. That check is finished before Monday morning. Our clients, mostly the Habesha clients, they really save their money. They don't have the time to spend in a bar and nightclub and so many parties. There is a lot of responsibility back home, responsibility here with their house expenses, family, all that things. Would you support to that?
Yes, 100%. I would say that's accurate. I would say that's exactly what I see.
I remember one time you asked me, "Oh, Kasai, this lady, she makes only 26,000, and then she has saved in 3 years 60,000. How did she do it?" I remember when you asked me that. So sometimes, working for somebody who pays them cash, under the table or that kind of things helps, but we mostly save a lot. So it is very important in our community. These days, especially, we are understanding the financial, the hard work, the saving, and then transferring from buying a car to buying a house, from a house to a business, to restaurant, to liquor store, to gas station. Financially, overall, we're doing great. And, because of people like you with a lot of knowledge, with close relationship with the Habesha people, we admire and we are always thankful.
Great. Chris, I might have some couple questions on this website. What does that mean? It's like 2-1 buy down. You said save 1%, save 2%. Can you explain for us, please? And then, we'll see on the down payment too. What does that mean?
The way that the 2-1 buy down works, so let's say the interest rate is 6.5% today. Year one, your interest rate would be based on, your payment would be based on an interest rate of 4.5%. Then year two would be based on 5.5%, and then year 3 through 30 would be 6.5%. So that's how it works. And so your interest, so you basically get on the 2-1 buy down, the interest rate is 2% less in the first year. So that's a big deal, right? So it's like 4.5% is a pretty good rate. And so having that for the first year, and like an example there of a $500,000 mortgage, it's about $500 a month, and so that's a big number. And so that just makes it a little bit more affordable in a higher interest rate environment. Now we think that within those first 2 years, that the interest rates are going to come down and you'll refinance into a lower rate. Maybe permanently have that 4.5% or 5% or something like that permanently. And so that's the hope. That's what people are trying to sort of, use these buy downs to sort of get them through this high interest rate environment.
So at this point of time, you have like more customers that are dealing with this kind of program. That's what you're explaining.
Yeah,
right?
we do a lot. Over 50%, 60%. And it paid for the seller, so you need an environment where the seller is willing to pay for that. And we're seeing that, right? We're seeing that in homes today, and there's quite a few seller concessions. They're willing to give $10,000 or $15,000 or something like that, right? It's a thing. We're seeing that.
So another question, this question came through always to us, to me or Kasai. what is the difference between fixed and variable interest? What they are asking is, hey, when is a good time to use the variable interest in the house, or when is a good time to use the fixed cost? We recommend always to use the fixed cost, but can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah.
When is a good time to use the variable interest?
The variable interest rate, it's fine product. The issue today is that the variable interest rates just aren't really that much more competitive. They're lower than a fixed rate. So you just don't see that. Sometimes you'll have a banks or some of the jumbo products might have some deals on some adjustable rate mortgages, but for the most part, the adjustable rate mortgages aren't lower than the 30-year fixed today. So the 30-year fixed is sort of, what most folks are getting today. It's just not a better option for them. If there was, I would recommend it. If you could save, and we think you should save maybe 0.5% or more by doing an adjustable rate. And that adjustable rate might be fixed for a period of time, like 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years, and then it adjusts. And I think that's plenty of time, to sort of lock into either someone might not have that house that long, or they might be able to lock it to a fixed rate that's lower down the road. In the next 5 years, the fixed rates will be lower at some point, right? It's going to happen.
Love it. Yeah, thank you. All right, and then sorry, Kahsai. And then I seen this program. What is this? You have even down payment. That means you can just pay for us even the down payment home. Can you explain for that? What is this?
So what this down payment program is that this going to show this our app. We have a aggregate all the different payment programs in the state, so that there's all kinds of different programs, right? And so what maybe Shaft is one of them. There's some Track. There's some other ones. This app, if you go on our website, you can see what things you qualify for or approved for based on your income and different scenarios, right? So we've created a tool that'll allow you to sort of see all the different options that are available. So it's a unique way of finding all the stuff out there in one spot, right? Instead of having to know all the different programs, just go to our website, use that link, and you can see what all the programs that you qualify for.
Perfect. This could be my last before Kahsai. Okay, there is a new law that's come up in July, right? We've been discussing with Kahsai about this. So even the buyer is going to pay his portion for this broker like Kahsai. What can you say about it? Is there any solution, or is there any law come up on your expert? What can you tell us about it, Chris?
I mean, I don't know I know what you're talking about. I obviously I'm in the industry, but I don't know how it's going to come out to be, how it's going to all shake out in the end. If the sellers are going to continue to pay, or this all going to be negotiated. I think, the way that I think about it is, if you're looking for an agent, someone to represent you to buy a house, you want to find the best person that you can, that works well with you, and that's going to work hard for you to find the house that you're looking for, right? And I think, if you have to pay for that, then there will be the loan. The loan will allow you to sort of. They're working on that stuff, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and to let you to sort of roll in some of those costs, because ultimately, folks that have a lot of money will be able to get representation, and folks that are first-time home buyers using down payment assistance program, they're going to be the folks that suffer, right? And so they won't have the money to be able to do that. And so I think that's going to be the challenge, right? Is like, how does it make it equitable for everybody, right? And I think they're working on that. I think to help finance some of these costs in there, because that's really what's happening now. When you buy the house, it's already financed in there, right? We're already financing within the loan program, right? If the house is already selling for $500,000, but that assumes a certain 6% commission structure in there, it's already being financed technically through that loan. So I think that it'll continue to do that. It's just going to be a little bit different, but we don't have a lot of guidance yet on that, and we'll see how it shakes out. But it's going to be different. But I think that agents that sort of are hardworking folks that are helping people buy houses, do that.
Perfect. Yeah, ካሕሳይ እንተ ልካ ናባኻ ኸይድ ምርካል ሒዘ ኣለኹ ዳህና መወዳእታ sorry
I again what the only question I have is, do you give advice for agents that how they should write the contracts, like the buy down and contribution of closing cost from sellers? How often do you give advice for agents?
Yeah, we're happy to help with that. I mean, really, the buy down and all that sort of stuff, all just within the seller concessions, right? It doesn't have to be anything different. You don't have to specify. It's just $10,000 in seller concessions. It's $10,000 or 15 or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to specify. It's for a buy down. It's for this or that, right? You know, so we don't. We're happy to help with that, but it can be pretty straightforward. You know, it doesn't have to be super complicated or unique.
Thanks.
Well, Parv, Chris, I know we're gonna need you more and more. There is about 2 questions in here from our followers. Are you guys work all over the nation? I don't know, or do you have any connection? I know you are in Colorado.
Yeah, I do in Colorado. We are licensed in a couple more, or getting licensed in other states that we're doing some other business in. Louisiana is one of the states. We'll be licensed in a few more states down the road, but for the most part, our expertise is really in Colorado.
Okay, so you are in Colorado.
Yeah, because we don't have the license, and you know, we're not really experts. You know, when we help somebody here, we're an expert, right? We understand the markets, we understand the appraisal situation, the appraisers, all the you know, the areas, the values, all of that sort of stuff. We're very, very knowledgeable. When you go, it's hard for me to be an expert in another state.
Perfect. That's why we like you. That's why we choose you as mostly the Habesha Education. You are tab number 25, and then we still keep doing it. And then I heard that you said 2,000 customers only from Habesha was about $2 billion. That's a lot of money. Great.
Wow.
So my last, it's not a question, but my last, we really need you in here, Chris, once in a while. I know there is a lot of questions, like you say, bank statement program, and then all this down payment. We can just break down once in a while when you get a chance. I know Kahsa is our top in here. So that's my last. We are really needed, the Habesha people. We are having hard time, Chris. You know, all this language barrier, you know, all the system. How we're gonna just introduce this kind of free world? We're gonna push you hard on this. So thanks for coming, and I'll see you again and again. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. You can Kahsa, you can do this, our last conversation.
Well, thanks very much. We really appreciate it. For Habesha, you are 100% the top lender from so many years experience. The reason what makes you top lender for Habesha is you communicate very well. You make it easy as a loan. Not only that, but what many people don't know is that only Chris does appraisals without charging you ahead of time. Many banks, not many banks, all banks, you pay for the appraisal first. In case that house doesn't work or fails with something, you already paid it. But Chris charges you only at the end of the day, at the closing. If you don't get the house, that means he pays it himself. And this is over $600, $700 plus, you know, other banks say, you know, it takes them 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Chris can do it in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in less than a month. The other thing is, when a bank asks you 18 documents, Chris may ask you 5, 6 documents, not more than that. That makes it for our Habesha people. We are the top lender, and we enjoy working with you. We know how hard worker you are. You open your business 2022. By now, how many employees do you have part-time and full-time? You have many employees, and you've been closing 30 to 100 clients a month. So this is from my deep knowledge, all the information that I have about you. If you can tell us how many employees average you have a year, part-time and full-time, that would be helpful too. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming and give us all the education, all the knowledge. For sure, as Member Deswala said, that we will need you one day, and we'll keep in touch.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you allowing me to be on here and share some information with everybody in your community. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
We'll
Thank
be in
you.
touch.
ክቡራት ተኸታተልቲ እዚ this is Chris website ዩ በዚ ኮንታክት ክትገብሩ ትኽእሉኹም ኣብዚ ንህለኩም ዝርአ ዘሎ. So this is his office, and then his license is ኣብዚ ዘሎ, telephone number, you can contact him. Yeah, he has even 5 stars. This is people who's working with him. So thank you, Chris, and then we will see you again and again. By the way, it is our community. This is Habesha Education. All the Habesha, mostly we are in the East Africa. There you go. You have a lot of people from us. You will more now too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks. Chris. Bye.
Good day.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.